You are listening to the Level Story Podcast, Episode 4, Life is Strange, for Tuesday, March 10th, 2019. Welcome everyone to a brand new episode of the Level Story Podcast, a branch of Level Story Magazine, which is a digital magazine that seeks to critique and celebrate stories in video games. My name is Danielle. I am the creator and curator of Level Story Magazine, and joining me as always is Sam, also known as Games as Literature over on YouTube.
Hi.
Sam, how are you today?
Hey. Doing fine. Excited to record another podcast episode.
Oh yeah, me too. It's going to be fun. And we have a special guest with us today. Her name is Red Angel. She has a YouTube channel that has some very awesome video essays. So hello, Red Angel.
Greetings, one and all.
How are you this fine evening?
Pretty good. Just got back from work about a couple hours ago, so...
Fun.
It gets fun at the library.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. You're a librarian. That's really awesome.
I love it so much. And but I am also a librarian in Florida, so just that sentence alone.
Oh.
Sounds like an experience.
Well.
Yeah. Yeah. Just yep.
Silence. Yeah.
I have a lot of stories.
One day we'll have to have you back on and hear those stories.
Just nothing but librarian stories.
That's awesome, though. Well, we're glad to have you here. And Red Angel contributed to the magazine, the most recent issue, where we talked about Life is Strange, which is what this episode is about. We're going to be talking about the issue, our feelings on Life is Strange, and kind of our overall thoughts on the issue in general and how it turned out and all that fun stuff. So if you like Level Story and would like to support it, head on over to patreon.com/levelstory, or you can also contribute a one-time donation at how do you guys say it? Ko-fi or coffee? Like
Coffee.
Coffee.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always say
the whole gist originally was like buy a coffee for someone, so
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason I always just say Ko-fi because I'm like, well, it's not spelled like coffee, but yeah, ko-fi.com/Level Story, coffee. And if you want to get in contact with Level Story, head on over to levelstory.net/contact, and you can either write to us or leave us a voicemail. And if you leave a voicemail, we'll play it on the show, which would be really awesome. All right, so one other piece of note is that if you are interested in any of the topics or links that we reference in this episode, you can head on over to levelstory.net/podcast/lis-reflection. You'll see all the links there. All right, let's get into some housekeeping before we begin the episode. So, the new issue is out. That's exciting. Yay. It's been out since December. For some reason, I forgot for a second. I'm like, wait, was it November or December? No, it's December. Yeah. Wanted November. That's why I thought that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the new issue is out, and I'm really excited to talk about it because, well, actually, I won't say anything just yet. I'm going to hold myself back. But we're going to get into that in a short while. But other piece of news, the Art for Artists podcast was nice enough to have me back on. We talked about Dear Esther. So that episode's been out a few weeks, so check in the show notes. You can find a link to that. One other thing is that we have on the podcast Kingdom Hearts Deep Dive series, which I'm hoping to continue in the near future. It's just a matter of getting together and recording those episodes. So if you like those episodes and are wanting more, I promise you they're coming. It's just hard to get everybody's schedule on track. So we'll do it eventually, hopefully sooner than later. And finally, we got an iTunes review, our first one. So exciting. And it's from Sen B, who titled it Come for Games, Stay for Story. And they gave the pod 5 stars. So first of all...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Thank you so much. And they wrote, love to talk about Kingdom Hearts, love the online magazine, looking forward to more about storytelling in games. So that's really awesome. Thank you for leaving a review, Senbi. And it really helps when you leave a review for the podcast. So if you'd be kind enough, if you have some time in your schedule, you could head on over and leave a review. Please and thank you. Thank you. And now that's housekeeping out of the way. Now it's time to get jiggy with it. So, Red, this is our section.
Sorry, I will never not laugh when this segment is brought in. Sorry, go on.
It's mandatory, so you're fine. This is our segment where we talk about news going on in games and the gaming industry, things you're excited about, and all that fun stuff. So, who would like to go first with what they're getting jiggy with? Any takers?
Well, I'll get mine out of the way since it's
Sure.
relatively short and simple, but I have been very fascinated to see how many games are getting delayed already at this point in the year. There were a whole ton of games that I was at the very least interested in, and in some cases super psyched for, coming out in March. And then over the course of like a couple weeks, they all moved out of that block except for Animal Crossing, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like the Final Fantasy VII Remake is in April now, which I appreciate because I'm working on a video about it, and that extra time is very appreciated.
Of course, yeah.
Cyberpunk got delayed. Marvel's Avengers game, Dying Light 2, is now just like no one knows when that's coming out now. This was just all in such a short period of time. And I'm definitely of the belief, especially since we're trying to be so much more aware of crunch in this industry, that delays are generally a good thing. It means a better game, and it hopefully means a more ethical work structure for the people making the game. So like, it's a good thing. It's just, it was really weird to see this avalanche of major games just getting pushed back around the same time. But, you know, still a lot to look forward to. I'm still incredibly excited about Final Fantasy VII, and I hope it's good, but whether it is or not, I'm there, so...
I haven't even completed the game, and I'm excited. I'm one of those people who hasn't played the original game all the way through just yet. Still playing it on the Switch, which, by the way, I have to ask you real quick, Sam. I read something on Twitter from you about speeding something up, like the submarine?
Yeah.
Or something? You're playing on the Switch? Is like that something... Mm-hmm. Like, how do you do that? We need to talk after the episode. Because I'm not there yet, but it's just sometimes I need to speed things up because...
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Give her those hot details.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have some extremely helpful quality of life options that basically just kind of let you cheat for scenarios where it's very annoying. So, yeah, no, we'll talk about that because you should definitely know about that.
Oh, my God. Like, just sometimes I would die continuously to, like, certain bosses, and I'm like... I have to go all the way back. I don't want to. Like, I'm tired.
Yeah. No, they have some things that make level grinding way easier, so we'll talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. Are there any games like that you are looking forward to, Red, that are coming out this year?
I'm one of those people. Animal Crossing!
I mean, yeah.
But, yeah... I loved New Leaf so much. I'm just a big Animal Crossing person. I played since back at the GameCube game.
Nice.
So I'm just happy to see it.
Cool. I've never played Animal Crossing. Is it... I just got a Nintendo DS. Is it on there?
Yes.
Okay,
cool. It's City Folk?
I think City Folk is the DS.
Is it
no,
City
wait.
Folk?
I think so, yeah.
Wild World. Not Wild World.
Oh, no. Is it? No, one of those is the Wii and one of those is the DS one, and I forget which one.
I switch them around because they have interconnectivity within the games.
Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why I'm going... Yeah, that's something they do for the Animal Crossing games, is they try to make them connected to whatever is around. Not the GameCube one, obviously, but just...
Well, even the GameCube one, you could connect to a Game Boy Advance, and there wasn't an Animal Crossing game on the Game Boy Advance, but you could just connect it to visit this island and get some unique items and stuff. Nintendo likes doing
villager,
that for
the one villager that... I don't know how many of them moved over to the mainland, but a couple of them did in the next games. I think Anka, the Egyptian cat, but I'm not sure.
This is all very fascinating to me.
Also, there is Temtems that's out. It's in early access, but that's out.
Is that on Switch?
It's for Steam. It's in early access. It is a MMO Pokemon-esque style.
Right.
It's in early access. It's $34, so it's too rich for my blood at the moment.
Oh.
But I'm
It
gonna
looks
wait.
so good.
I'm interested in it. I feel like I've been kind of going through the reviews, and the negative reviews are saying that people are reviewing it positively because of the idea of it more so than the game itself. But I am curious about it.
Honestly, games with cool ideas and lackluster execution are still like very much in my wheelhouse. So like that's fine.
So true. Which makes me think that I don't think this will be a poor execution game, but the premise is really neat. I really have to play that game, Coffee Talk.
Yeah,
Yes.
That looks so good.
that was recommended to me by a couple of my patrons. They said you should do Coffee Talk and do a late night ponderings on it. I went, all right.
I have seen that, yeah.
Just like, all right.
Yeah, sure, why not?
That's pretty much what I do when someone goes, "Oh, here's a game." I go, "All right, I'll play it." There's a backlog, but I'll do it.
Yeah, sometime.
There you go. Yeah, I bought it, just haven't touched it yet. So,
There's also Pokemon Mystery Dungeon.
oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I never played all the way through the original, so
yeah.
I'm interested in the Switch one. See if they made any quality of life changes.
Mm.
But they did give all of the four-legged Pokemon bow ties.
Oh my gosh,
And that's worth it.
I mean, yeah, 10 out of 10 game of the year.
for sure. I think this podcast is over right now.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah,
Just all go play Pokemon
Yeah.
Mystery Dungeon. The end.
for sure.
Chikorita has a bow tie. I'm happy.
Yeah. Who cares about Life is Strange? No, move on.
Cares about Mystery bow tie.
Yeah.
This is a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon podcast now.
Yeah. You see the name change tomorrow morning.
Yep. Same for the magazine. Just
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just scrawled on Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Everything has bow ties.
Right. See a little bow tie on the logo of the magazine. Like, yes. That actually is a good idea. We'll consider it. Anyway. All right, awesome. Yeah, it's a shame that games get delayed, like you said, Sam, but,
Yeah.
maybe it's it's bad, but it's good because, hopefully the quality will be better at the end of the day.
Yeah.
honestly, as an adult who doesn't have enough time to play all the games I want to play, it's just good. In my book,
Yeah.
I can wait a little longer and try and finish more of the stuff I've got going already.
Agreed. Yeah, for sure. Red, do you want to go next?
Because I was going animal. Because I already did Animal Crossing and I did Temtem, so I'm going. What else? Animal Crossing,
Well,
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon.
I mean,
Temtem.
that could be it. Like,
As it stands right now, yeah, I think Hades is being. Oh, that's right. Is Hades being released this year? I think it is.
It released on Steam. I don't know if that was its official release or not. I still need to play it.
I played a little bit of it, but my computer was acting funny that day, so I didn't get to finish it. But let me see. I think it's actually maybe it's fully released. I don't know.
I'm so torn. I really want to play it because Supergiant Games, obviously, but also I
Still early access.
really prefer playing on consoles. Like, I would really love to have it on Switch or my PlayStation or something.
I thought it was on the Switch.
is it?
Is it? I mean, I'd love that if it. I'm googling this immediately, but I hadn't been aware of that. I don't even think they've put Pyre on the Switch yet. Bastion and Transistor are there, but
I didn't know Bastion was on there.
Yep.
Okay.
No, it doesn't look like it, but it's on because it's on the Epic Game Store, and that's why it throws me off because Epic Games can connect with the Switch.
I didn't know that either. Really?
Yeah.
oh, I forgot. That's probably just for Fortnite, pretty much, right?
Is that?
I mean, I would have.
Switch.
I would have. Oh yes, it is. Fortnite is on literally everything.
Yeah,
now.
believe it or not. Yeah.
Literally everything. Graphing calculators,
Of course.
smartwatches,
Right. Yeah.
those old Dreamcast memory cards with the screens on them.
Oh yeah.
Don't pay attention to Fortnite at all.
I mean,
Even though these kids are all up and they're talking to me about it at the library, and that's the one game I go, yup.
Get off my lawn.
Minecraft, I know about that. I know the updates on that. There's so many things I already know. I'm up on a lot of the games that they're playing. Fortnite, don't know anything about. I had the opportunity to play it when it was early going, and I just said no because I didn't really want to.
Yeah.
And now it's this big thing. I went, well, oh well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did try to play it. Like, I watched, like, there's a YouTuber that I used to watch a lot who would do Uncharted videos. Like, he would play the Uncharted games a lot, and now he's like this huge Fortnite streamer. And so I would watch some of his videos, and he's a pro player, and I watch, and I'm like, oh, this game just does, it's not in my wheelhouse. You really have to, I feel like there's a lot of mastery to it, and I just don't have the time or the energy to bother. But it looks cool, like, sometimes. But
yeah, it's fine. The whole genre isn't super my thing, but I have found other games in it that I enjoy a lot more than Fortnite. Jimmy and I were very obsessed with Apex Legends for a little while. But it's like Fortnite if it was made by the people who made Titanfall, because it was, and I enjoy it a whole lot more. But that's I don't know.
Let's talk about that.
I actually do have some other games now. I was just going. My brain just kind of was going, what were the titles of the games coming out? Skatebird's coming out this year.
Yes!
Oh my gosh,
thank
yes!
God.
Skatebird.
Skatebird is coming out this year. Praise.
Oh my gosh, seriously.
Praise be to Yevon.
Oh, yeah, Skatebird.
It looks like it's coming out this year. It's for the Switch, the Xbox One, Microsoft Windows, Macintosh, so many things. It looks like it's being announced for this year. They say it's coming out this year. I've been following their Twitter and I've been looking at their tests. It looks good for what it is. It's like, oh yeah, it's realistic birds. No, it's it's bird skateboarding. It's not realistic, but it's fine.
Honestly, I was sold on it just the moment that I saw a video of it and saw the animations for the bird, the way it like flaps its wings and keeps its balance on the skateboard. It's so cute. I love it.
Oh yeah,
it really is. I love it too.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to it. I just want I feel like it's the only game I will buy on day one. It's just like immediately buys it, and it's $60. I do not care.
Yeah, well, it's bird skateboarding. I mean, who wouldn't dish out $60? So I'm with you. So
also, Ooblets is coming out.
I don't know what that is.
I've heard it, but I've honestly never looked into it.
I've been following it really closely. I'm hoping it's good. It's a very similar, it's a kind of a farming game that is mixed with like little critters that you grow out of the ground. So it's one part. Oh. So it's a little bit of Pikmin, a little bit of Harvest Moon kind of thing going on, and you could explore strange lands, and you could have dance-offs, and it's just cute. It's only on the Epic Games Store at the moment, but it's also on Steam, so I'm curious to see where they'll release it first. I am very tentative about it, but I'm hoping it's coming out, because it looks like it. They said it's coming out. I don't know if it's going to be delayed, but they're saying definitely 2020, so I'm kind of taking that with a grain of salt as much as I can.
That makes me also think... sorry, go ahead.
There's also the really cool The Way in the Woods is coming out too.
Yeah.
With the deer. More deer games. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks... Is that going to be on Steam?
Wait, don't quote me. Yeah. Nope. Switch.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
It is on... doesn't say Steam, but it says it's going to be on Microsoft Windows. So...
It's possible it could be an Epic Games thing or something then, but...
Maybe.
Yeah, but it looks more like a game I'd play for the Switch, to be honest.
I mean, pretty much all games, honestly, are games I'd play on the Switch.
I agree.
I love that thing.
Oh my God. I agree 100%. My Switch is like... I have not loved a console this much in a really long time. I love playing the Switch.
Yeah, it's so good.
It really is. Like, I'm almost like... I haven't played it in a little while, and so I kind of look at it sometimes. I'm like, I just want to wait for a good moment to really sit down and enjoy you. Like, not just pick you up at a random time. Just enjoy the Switch. So I need to play that more now. But, yeah, cool. What was
the talk of bird games reminded me also of Falcon Age, which I thought was coming out soon, and then just looked and found out came out, like, last year or something?
Yeah, it did, and so I played it. I had some issues with it.
Oh.
Yeah. And by issues, I mean, I keep falling through the world,
Oh.
and apparently no one else has this issue, and they say, oh, your graphics card might not be good enough for this game. I went, okay, no, that's not what it is.
That's why you're falling?
Great.
That's why I'm falling through the world? That's why?
That's unfortunate. The Falcon animations that I've seen in videos and stuff are just incredible. But I'll have to...
Maybe I can fix it. Maybe there's something I'm doing wrong, but they're just... I'm just getting next to no feedback on falling through the world, and a couple of other people have experienced similar issues.
Huh, that's annoying.
Yes, it's something graphical. It's just something there that they are just not seeing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's an older computer thing. I don't know.
Weird.
Maybe. I've never heard of anything like that. That's weird.
Yeah, I just fell through the world. I just was looking up and I went, huh, my bird's up there. That's happening.
Like, oh, okay. Okay. Just falling.
Yeah, just stop pushing the fall through the world button.
Oh, yeah. Come on.
Clearly.
Yeah.
There's Mineko's Night Market. These are all indie games. Leave me alone.
I've never heard of this one, but just based on the title, I'm looking it up right now. This sounds cool.
It's whimsical, and it reminds me of Spirited Away, which makes me happy.
Yes.
Oh, I can see that just
Wait.
looking at screenshots and stuff.
What is it called again?
Mineko's Night Market. I've had this on my wish list for, I think, a couple years now. I'm just going to link it in the chat.
Okay.
There you go.
Yes.
Look at this. Look at how cute this is.
Anything Spirited Away is my jam.
It's like Spirited Away one part, E.T. one part.
Yes.
And she goes and I think they go and find artifacts and they race around on cats and they explore the world and they dance. And why are all the games that I'm into lately have dance parties? Sure, why not? But it's a lot of like cats just following you around and you just having fun things and crafting and bartering, and it's great. And you sell things at your shop. It's great. I love it. I just love the look of it. I'm hoping it's good.
I just like the one of the screenshots has a list of people, and one of them is Granny Fanny, which I think is awesome, and then Cow Kid, second favorite. So this looks awesome.
It's cute and wholesome looking, and I just want it to be good.
I just got out my Switch so that I could look this up and see if I can or at least wishlist it or something. Because yes, it looks very cute.
It does. Oh, awesome. Yeah, now I'm trying to think. I wasn't thinking about it that much before. Like, what games am I looking forward to this year, other than like Final Fantasy VII? Skatebird was one of them. I've had that on my wish list for so long. Like,
all of us, nobody wants Final Fantasy, just Skatebird.
Right? Yeah. What will I play first? Skatebird. I mean, come on. Like,
there is no god. There's only Skatebird.
Who? Oh god, I just thought of like Game of Thrones, like, what do you say to the god of Skatebird? Not today. That'd be amazing. Okay. Anyways, we're just gushing about Skatebirds, ooblets. I'm sure it will come to me, all the games that I'm looking forward to after we record the podcast, so it's all good. But anyway,
I'm just looking forward to the inevitable level story issue about Skate, where we talk about the narrative depth and complexities.
It's got to be there. Look, I mean, like, how dare you question the Skatebird? Anybody out there says we can't do a level story issue, I'm just gonna do it because, like, do a mini mag on it. Like,
there you go.
All right. Well, cool. Well, one thing I want to quickly touch on is, so I don't know how you both feel, but I really am into speedrunning games and just watching the Games Done Quick events. Do either of you watch that or even care about that kind of stuff?
I dabble on and off because I use them borderline as walkthroughs.
Oh yeah, same.
I tend to like watch a couple highlights as they get shared around the internet or whatever. Yeah. I'm a little too min-maxed into caring about video game stories, though.
You would think I'd be the same way, but apparently no, that's not the case all the time. I have this weird obsession where speedruns are on, I just want to watch them. Only really the ones that I am familiar with, though. Like, there's certain... Oh my gosh, I just heard like a dog or cat, and it sounded so
That was
cute.
my cat. Cookie,
Oh my
hey.
gosh. That was
Cookie
adorable.
cat. Yeah, she makes very cute sounds when she may or may not be preparing to murder me.
Oh.
Oh, was that a hunting chitter?
It was more of a, hey, I wanted you to touch me, but that's too much touching.
Ah.
And then she'll just immediately go back to rubbing against me because terrifying.
Cats.
And extremely cute, but also terrifying. Anyway, sorry, I did not mean for my little spaz cat to interrupt you. Go on.
No,
go on,
that is
continue.
fine. She can interrupt as much as she wants, okay?
She's a precious being.
Yeah. So, I just wanted to reflect real quick on the most recent speedrunning event because Awesome Games Done Quick this year raised a new record of over $3.1 million to the Prevent Cancer Foundation, which is just amazing. Like, there can be a lot of toxic behavior around speedrunning, but what I love about this, that's one reason why I sometimes stay away from it, but Games Done Quick seems to... They're trying to curve it so that they're being all-inclusive, that they're trying to not have this sort of bashing and kind of hatred that can exist in the community. And it's really awesome to see how far they've come, because they also passed the 25 million mark in their entire history of doing this event. I want to say it's been over 10 years, but I'm not positive. But yeah, it was just amazing to me. And I loved watching the runs this year, and maybe one day I would love to learn how to speedrun a game, but like time is just not on my side. But maybe one day, because I think that's just, it's so impressive to me to see how people like can just manipulate the game in certain ways and figure out strategies to beat it as fast as possible. Just always interests me. So I thought that was really cool. And with that, I guess, shall we move on to Life is Strange and talk about the issue?
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
Sounds good.
Let's go. So, all right. So, as usual, what we've been doing with these little reflection podcasts is we talk about the newest issue of the magazine, which is talking about Life is Strange. And we're not going to, it's not like a close page-by-page examination, but basically we just talk about what we wrote, reflecting on certain things, kind of, it's an all-out just discussion of the issue. It'll be a fun time. And before we get into it, I want to shout out to the artists who contributed to this issue. We have Laura Anderson, Nathan Hartanto, and Rita Popova. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing anything. I think they did pretty well there. All right, so first of all, let's just do a roundtable real quick. What are our general thoughts on Life is Strange? Who wants to take a gander at this first?
I volunteer as tribute.
Okay.
Okay, so I love Life is Strange despite its flaws. I always have. I know it's flawed, but it very much is reminiscent of something of the young adult literature I studied in college and that I still help kids out with to this day. And it reminds me a lot of that. It's just, there's a couple of bits about it I just tilt my head at and can tell that certain things were obviously done behind the scenes that made it a not as stellar game as it could have been. I love it though, but it's one of those love it, but I wish you were more. I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Life is Strange. I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed in certain parts of you. But the universe is expanded, and we have comics now that expand on the ending, which is really nice because it's obvious that's what they wanted to put in, but whoops. And then there's the prequel game, and I haven't gotten a chance to play the sequel, but I'm fully intending on it this year.
I've heard incredible things. I've been wanting to get around to it sometime, but yeah, I haven't.
Yeah,
I'm planning on playing it this month, wait, it's February. I'm planning on playing it this month and trying to get it done since I can pretty much run it within an afternoon. So,
oh
yeah, let's be emotionally compromised in a whole afternoon and get it over with.
Yeah, that sounds like a whole lot of intense emotions packed into one.
Let's go. Speed run my emotions.
Yeah. It's like all of a sudden we see on Twitter Red Angel like not doing good playing Life is Strange 2. Oh jeez. Send help. Like this poor girl needs help. Like,
Send me cute things, guys.
yeah.
Help.
Play some of the what's that game? The Maiko's Night Market or however you say that.
I know.
Take a break with the cute one for a bit.
Yeah. I'll just play Eagle Island for 5 seconds. Just.
All right, cool. What about you, Sam?
I really, really like it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess sort of similar to Red, really. Like, it has problems. It's also fairly... I don't want to... like, not revolutionary, necessarily. Like, the genre had been established. I think it's more just that this type of story hadn't really been told much in this medium. There are still a lot of different kinds of stories that video games just aren't telling very often, and this whole teen coming-of-age story, even with the supernatural bent, is kind of outside of the typical wheelhouse of the genre. And it's always interesting whenever that happens, like whenever a game really tries to branch out of that. It's usually extremely well received at first, if controversially, and then over time opinion wanes. Like if you look at Heavy Rain, it got incredible reviews when it came out, and everyone was pretty much just like amazed that a game was telling as personal a story as this in the method it was or whatever. And you know, despite some other people just, it's a movie or like criticizing it for various reasons, but over time, you know, the sort of luster on the unique things it does fades, and then we look back and realize, oh, that's not great, really. Like,
Yeah.
Heavy Rain has a lot of really big problems, but I think that Life is Strange is going to endure a little more than these tend to. It does have a lot of problems, but I think that it's got a little more value within it, and I don't think the problems it has tarnishes that value as much as some other examples.
Yeah, it holds up a bit better. Just
Yeah.
to scrutiny.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's
And David Cage isn't playing anywhere near it, so we're good.
well, right, exactly. That's kind of one of the, that's definitely one of the main benefits.
Come on, it's slam.
Oh god.
But yeah, it's I mean, I really like it. I really liked it when I was playing it. I still like it in hindsight, despite issues. And just yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's unique.
Yeah, I mean,
Good.
yeah, I'm one to agree with both of you. Like, when I first played it, though, I didn't love it, and I actually was pretty bitter about it when I finished, because I was like, are you serious right now? That's the ending you're giving me? Like, why did I waste my time? Oh my gosh. Like, I was just annoyed by it, but replaying it for this issue, like, I really thought I wouldn't enjoy it, and I loved it so much on a second time around, and, you know, it's interesting because I think what it's doing is, like you were saying, Red, like, it is sort of like this, like, a very literary, or reaching at least, toward this, like, literary style of a game, and, like, kind of channeling these things that literature, or themes that literature has, and something new for games. And so that is always appealing to me. Like, I love when things are channeling books. Like, that's my jam. I love literary stuff and anything and everything. But yeah, this time around it just appealed to me so much more. And despite, like, I still have issues with it, but I just think that it's one of those games, I think it does challenge the medium. And you were saying, Sam, like, it's not revolutionary, but, like, kind of is. Like, maybe revolutionary is too big of a word, but it is doing something that no other game really has done quite as well, I'd say. Perhaps both of you can speak better to that, because I don't play nearly as many games as both of you do.
Yeah, I would posit some of Telltale's work, but Life is Strange is definitely in sort of the upper echelon of this genre.
Yeah, I'd say it's on par with The Walking Dead Season 1. That's me. But
yeah,
I think it very much plays to the strengths of the characters and and just the story overall.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. Yeah, so it's like, I wouldn't call it like a favorite game per se, but it is one of those games, like you were saying, Red, like, you're disappointed from the faults of it, but you still love it anyway. I loved playing it through it a second time. I'm glad, like, going into it, I was like, okay, I'm going to talk about Life is Strange and the issue. I don't think I'm going to be very positive about it. And then I played it, and I'm like, oh my god, that was really good. Like, I cried at the end. Because the first time, I didn't kill Chloe the first time around, because I was just so pissed. I'm like, really? Like, this is my friend. I've built a relationship with her. And this time around, I killed her, and I was like, why'd she have to die? Like, it's just emotional. But yeah, I really like it. So this time around, Sam, you wrote about one of Dotenod's earlier games, Remember Me?
Yeah, they're the only game they'd made before this, actually.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was... I've never played that game before. Have you played it, Red?
I've played a little bit of it. I actually own it, and I played a little bit of it on the 360 when I had mine set up. And I haven't gotten a chance to play it on my PC, which since I have it now, but I want to play it all the way through. It's kind of one of those. It's in the backlog. I'm working on it.
I don't actually remember if I own it or not. I might have gotten it through GameFly or something, but I'm sure that I could pick it up for like $5 at GameStop or something, so I should probably just do that, honestly. That's
what I did.
Yeah.
There's big old bin of Xbox 360 games. Just get all of them.
Yep. Yeah, it's always fun to try and find some gems in the sort of like clearance, getting rid of all the old games bins at places like that. But yeah, it's... I don't know, I remember, because I played Remember Me before, I don't want to just try and retread too much of what I wrote in the article, but like I played that game before Life is Strange existed, so like I recognized the creators of Life is Strange from Remember Me when the game was announced, and yeah, I don't know, like it was interesting having that context, because not very many people have played Remember Me or know it exists at all, and it's I don't know, it's not a... If anything, it's a more flawed game than Life is Strange, and for that matter, sort of, I don't want to say by the numbers, but, it's a third-person action game, you've played other games like it before. But I don't know, it was really interesting, and it was fun sort of going back and sort of revisiting the memory of that game a bit and talking about how it related to Life is Strange.
Well, yeah, for sure. Like, one thing I find really fascinating, not just about like the topic in general, but your article as well, is just looking at how like a game developer comes to create like what they later are like creating in their later years. Like, it's neat to see where they started and those influences. So that was really cool to read about.
Yeah, that's always a thing that I enjoy. Like, I don't know, there are often times when people say to start a series that I hadn't played at, the third game, and I can do that sometimes, but usually, if possible, I like starting at the beginning, even if you don't need the narrative context or anything, just because I enjoy seeing how it develops, and sometimes it's hard to go backward, like if you've played Skyrim, it's hard to go back and play Morrowind, because it's not as fun just at all, but it's still worth it, so I like trying to start early on if possible. I usually just enjoy that experience personally, but
I mean, same kind of like, but I'm that type of person where I like to I guess it's like start from the beginning. I guess like that's what I'm meaning, like, because I typically feel like you said, going backwards, it's just not something I personally like to do. So yeah, I'll probably do the same thing. Well, I didn't do it this time though.
Yeah, well, there's not always time, No.
Yeah. For sure.
Like, I went back and played Nier before I played Nier Automata, but I sure did not go back to play the Dragon Guard games. Like, there's only so much time in the world.
Yeah.
I'd like to at some point, but,
No.
I wasn't.
They have not aged well.
Oh, no. Okay. Well, oh boy.
Go ahead and play them, but...
That's
rest
her warning.
In pepperoni.
I will keep that in mind. The thing is, I chose to write about Remember Me partially because I think it's worth talking about and playing and no one's heard of it, but also partially because I unfortunately didn't really have the time to replay Life is Strange in time for the issue.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to it's been a while since I played it, and I didn't want to do that. I could have. I didn't want to try and talk about it in a detailed article just based on like memory or rewatching cutscenes or something, and I just didn't have time to go further in depth. And then there's also just the fact that the game, about a lot of things that I can't really speak directly to. Like there's an article in here about how it needs more gay, and I'm 100% in for that. I'm also not the person to write about it. So like, due to sort of a mix of wanting to stay in my lane, so to speak, and not having time to actually replay the game, and writing about its comparisons to another game that I had played, and it was a fun article to write on. Honestly, I'm glad I did. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's fair, honestly, because there's something like you said, you can watch the cutscenes online, and that's fine enough. But there's something about holding that controller and playing through the game that somehow contributes to the story, in my opinion, at least. So,
well, I mean, in this case, I think that takes some arguing if you're talking about a completely linear game. Like I would absolutely argue that for The Last of Us, for instance, but I recognize that not everyone would. This game depends on your choices, on your interaction.
Yeah,
so much of its meaning is contained in how you respond to things.
Yeah.
That it feels to me like you're just sort of crippling it if you're not actually taking part,
Yeah.
I also tend to have very strong views on that. I think that generally speaking, removing the element of interactivity from a game is just not good if it's not necessary. But yeah, I think that this game, and this type of game in particular, where you make choices and they affect things, is the type of thing you really have to play for yourself.
Yeah, I definitely see that, and I agree with you, because there's nuances to it, and you might not get that watching on a playthrough. So yeah, totally. But yeah, so Red, I'm interested, like, if we could talk about our writing processes for the magazine, because I know, well, first of all, the issue didn't even come out until December, but like for me personally, I struggled. So I don't know how you were when you were writing your pieces, like how that whole process was going for you.
I wrote them all within a day.
You are one talented lady.
Because what I did was I read through my old notes on the game that I was doing when I was reviewing the games for back when I worked for NoobFeed. Mm-hmm. And I was going through it, and I was looking through my notes, and first of all, going through my notes, I realized, oh, I write like a crazy person. Okay. I already knew that, but even looking at it again, I go, okay, that hasn't changed at all. All right, that's good to know. All right. But it was just a lot of notes, and I could see my raw emotions through what I wrote. So it was just me reliving those bits. And I mapped out all of my choices too that I had made.
Oh, nice.
And I think I even did the percentages at the time, if I could find it again. But it's even the percentages that were at the time the higher choices, and I didn't go with the majority. I don't know if I think I made the right choice, but I don't know if I did.
It makes you question, doesn't it? Like, oh.
It does. It's one of those things where I was just going. I remember at one of the notes was, "Am I an asshole for picking this?" And it was one of the first choices in the game. It was hiding in whether or not you came out and stood up for Chloe.
Yeah.
I hid. I stayed in there because I went, no, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And he may try to get Max expelled. I don't want to do that. Chloe, you got this. And then when I saw what happened, I went, and I'm a jerk. And I reversed it, but either way, I just went, you know what? No, I'm going to stick with my first choice, and we're going to see what happens from this whole scenario. And boy, did I get a different Chloe than a lot of people did.
Oh.
I hadn't realized how different her dialogue ends up. There's a lot more cut dialogue, if you can find it, of her reacting strongly to different things. But I got a different Chloe than everyone else did. There was still the cute, wholesome moments, but she is much more hostile to you during certain things if you don't do certain things.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say, like, Chloe, for me, I did the same thing. I hid in the closet in that moment. And I did go back, and I was like, no, No, I'm just gonna, just in case, because I don't want to get too bad on David's side, so I'll stay in the closet. And you know, it was interesting because what I found this time around, because the first time I played, I really wanted to please Chloe. I really wanted that like gay romance by the end that I had heard so much about. And so that's how I really played it the first time. But this time around, I was like, no, I'm gonna try to like just, I don't know what I was going for, just to get as much out of the game as possible. So I was like, okay, I'm going to choose what I think is right at the moment, and I'm going to rewind it afterward, but I have to stick with my choice. I have to stick with them. And Chloe was very mean to me in the beginning. Like, when I hid, and she kind of yelled at me, obviously, for hiding. And then when I chose to talk to Kate on the phone, instead of hanging out with her, and she was getting all pissy about it. But then as the game went on, she became much more like lovable and stuff, which I guess she does in general, but she just was, it was just a different side that I hadn't seen of her when I originally played. And it felt like her character felt more stronger the second time around for me. So I really appreciated that on a second run through.
Yeah, I could see that.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I mean, this is a slight subject change, so if you had something else to say about that, you can go ahead.
Oh, no, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm curious because both of you have said things at this point indicating that you used the rewind feature to see what the other option looked like, but stuck with the first thing you did. Is that generally how you played this one, or did you, check out both options and then rewind and make your choice based on seeing the immediate consequences?
I usually stuck with mine. I would rewind to see the other option. The only time I think I did it differently and rewound completely was with Frank's dog.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at first I accidentally shot Frank in that one scene, and I went, nope.
Yeah.
Not doing that. Nope, we're redoing this. We're fine, Max. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting you say that, actually, because in my first playthrough, it was much more hostile, and I did end up shooting Frank, and I didn't rewind it, where this time around, I didn't do that, so it's like, oh, cool. But, I have to say the same thing. The only time I rewound it was when, at the end, with Mr. Jefferson, when I chose the option to tell David that Chloe was dead, and he shoots Mr. Jefferson, and I was like,
I did that too.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know. I was like, because then he could go to jail. So I rewound it, so that I wouldn't tell him and he wouldn't shoot him. So, yeah, that was the only time I did that. But
no, I didn't. I let him shoot him.
I'm pretty sure I let that happen.
I wanted to be honest, but I was like, I don't know. So I just rewound it. But
honestly, I'm not really gonna.
Max can't kill him, so.
Yeah,
no.
I'm not really going to shed a tear over Jefferson dying or David going. Honestly,
that's a very good point. Yeah.
Huh. Well, that's interesting because I've always thought that it was one of the more interesting twists that this game offers on the whole, make your choices that change the story formula. Is that it's less of it, because I generally play that way. Like, if I make a decision, I only ever go back in, like a Telltale game or Mass Effect or, whatever, if I feel like I wasn't given enough information to make, like, if I make a choice and then it does something different from what I thought it would based on the information the game has given me. For the most part, I like sticking to my choices like that. But I thought that I found it interesting the way that this game sort of shifted focus away from do what you think is right and live with the consequences to giving you a slightly more informed picture of what the long-term consequences might be and letting you choose based on that.
Yeah.
That was usually my, I would pretty much always make a choice, rewind, make the other choice, and then decide after that which one I wanted to do.
Well, because that's what kind of distinguishes this from the Telltale games, is that you don't have a time limit when you're choosing your choices. So you have an infinite amount of time to consider, go back and look at things, and that's what really makes Life is Strange sort of stand out from the Telltale style. I haven't played Telltale, so I'm just saying that from my experience in watching it online, but I don't know what you both can say to that.
I mean, pretty much, yeah. You know, you have a limited time to make a choice, and whatever happens, you have to live with it, unless you want to quit the game and go back to the last checkpoint. So, like,
right,
yeah, it's more of a pressure based system. You know, what are you going to do in this moment when you have to make this choice, as opposed to Life is Strange, which is kind of more about, you know, consider the consequences and the potential long term consequences, and then do it.
Yeah, for sure. And there's an article I'll link to. It was basically talking about how games, like you were just saying, you make a choice in a game, and for the most part, you usually stick with that choice. You cannot go back. And Life is Strange is one of those unique games that gives you the option to go backward. So I'll link that in the show notes. I forget what the title, but it's a really good essay. I read it when I was doing research for the magazine. So yeah, I'll link that in the show notes. I'll put it in the chat too, because it's a really good article. But yeah, I'm going to be honest, Red, like, good for you for writing so fast, because I had such a hard time writing these. And I was writing, I'm not kidding you, to like the day before getting it out. Like I had such writer's block with my ideas that I struggled a lot. But you know, it came out fine in the end, but oh my gosh, it's not fun having that happen. Just, I was a mess. Like, I was like, I really wanted to get it out, but there is no way that I can write this and have somebody look it over, fix it in time. So it was just a mess. It really made me rethink how I do this, to be honest, for the future.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, so
shorter games, maybe?
Maybe. I don't know. Usually, I don't know what was going on, to be honest. I think I just had so many ideas, and trying to figure out where to place them and fit them into what I wanted to write about, that just gave me just
And you were
issues.
more conflicted this time around, from what I've gathered. Because at first you were going, I don't think I like this game that much, and then you play it again and you go, I think I might like this game.
Exactly, yeah. So, yeah, that could have been it as well. So, I don't know, but I think, I mean, it helped the fact that, you know, in future issues, I'll definitely be approaching things differently, but also just wow, I was like, never again. I can't do this again. Because writing, the designing part, like, I can do that. That's fine. But the writing part, that's the stressful part if you don't get it. And I was like, oh boy, this cannot happen again. So, but in general, you know, I think all of the pieces in the issue are really awesome. And I love what's it called? Your piece, if I can flip to it, how music tells a story.
I was so proud of that. Those songs were on loop for almost an hour in my room, and my cats just left after a while. I would just like to bring it up. They're going, Mom, please! Stop listening to indie rock again, God!
You're doing it again. You're listening to indie rock. Stop. So, yeah. Yeah, I really like that. And your other article, too, An Adolescent's Power and Choice. I love how you approached the final choice of the game, because I feel like that's talked about a lot, like in online discussion of the game, the final choice.
Yeah.
I liked your approach to it.
It's something that's been rolling around, that was just rolling around in my head, that I had even mentioned to my best friend Rose, telling her, I think that Max should have died. Or she should have been able to sacrifice herself and gotten hurt, or one way or another, because that's just how it played to me. It just played that there, in the end, you were either going to make one of three choices rather than one of two.
Yeah.
That there would be a third option. There would be a Max sacrifices herself, and whether or not she died from it would have been entirely maybe up to how you played or something like that. But it just made sense. It just made a lot more sense, and made much more of an impact on me than the other two endings did at first. And honestly, the losing Chloe ending was hard, and I did get those hot feels, but at the same time I was going, I feel like there was a third ending that we didn't get. Yeah. And that was why I kind of deep dove into that aspect of it. because
Yeah.
we're building up to a choice, this adolescent's choice, but it's like you choose to let someone go, which is a part of adolescent literature, to choose to leave your friends behind, your childhood, but the way that it's set up is just a little problematic.
Yeah.
I'm not, oh gosh, I hate that word sometimes, but
Yeah.
it's just it's the way it's set up. It's just it doesn't click right. There's pieces here and they're clicking, but they're not clicking the right way to fit together like a puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you see that a lot. Like, you know, adolescent has to make a hard choice at the end of the day. You see that constantly. I think what kind of my take on it is that with the 3-choice method, it actually shows that things aren't binary, that, you know, there's many choices in life, like that, many roads you can take. And also it would make Max have much more agency, I guess. Like, not that she didn't have agency in the choice, but like to do something more brave. Because like you said, you know, we all hate the word, but problematic. Yeah, it is a little problematic, just the ending. And it just never sat well with me. Even though I like the ending with, like, I like how when Chloe dies, you know, we do have a solid ending there. The other ending, not so much. But I don't.
Yeah, that was
real bad.
That was my sort of immediate reaction when I first finished the game. Is I felt like there was an ending and then a choice to not have it, pretty much, because it was very, very obvious that one choice fit in thematically with what the game had been doing up to that point, and the other one just kind of rejected it all. In my mind, it seemed like the only way for the story to end was to let Chloe die.
Well,
but
I mean, think about this too, though. You have a game that's doing quite a bit, a lot of heavy lifting, where in the beginning it's kind of setting up this, you know, as we talked about, like an adolescent story, and kind of these little like vignettes of life, and like, you know, Max is going to school, Max's interactions with her classmates and Chloe. But then we get the more murder mystery side of things as the episodes go along. And so when we get to this ending, it almost makes sense that we got there, because the game was kind of, not that those things can't coexist, but I'm not sure how well it integrated at the end of the day. And so it didn't flow at the end. And you're right, like, we know what ending they wanted to go for. I wish we would have gotten there a bit smoother, but
well, and that's the thing, is that I think that the ending is talked about so much because it's sort of the most, I'll just finish the trifecta and also use the word, it's the most overtly problematic element of the game, I feel like. Like, sort of the most obviously, you know, by the time you finish it, if someone were to ask you what the most obvious problem with it was, that's probably what most people would come up with. It's just kind of the most glaring. But yeah, I don't know. I really liked your approach in the article, Red, to sort of like pointing out something they could have added that would have made it work better, because I haven't seen that suggestion quite so often as just pointing out what the problems are.
Right.
And I think it's an interesting idea.
And what's also an interesting idea, because like when I thought of it, I just thought, well, don't give her a choice at all, just have an ending. Like, but the thing is, I mean, I do like that, and I still like that. It's just that it feels like it takes agency away from the player, and I don't know. I'm conflicted about it, to be honest. Like, I want to have the choice, but
I generally don't have a problem with games, even games that are choice heavy, taking agency away from the player, but that has to be like what the story is about.
Yeah.
Like, there are major elements of the endings of games like Dragon Age 2 and the first season of The Walking Dead that, you know, there are major things that you can't change, and I personally love that, because I think that those things are extremely important. That's part of what it's about. Right. You can control things, but those things are beyond you, and not everything is, you know, comes down to what choice. But I don't know if this game would... I don't know. I feel like the coming-of-age narrative sort of requires a degree of agency.
Yeah.
Revan, what are you doing? Do you hear that meowing?
Yes.
Revan, hi.
She wants to be on the
little
podcast.
Sith Lord?
Cats want to be on the podcast.
Yeah, I guess so. The Podcats.
Oh my god.
Is there,
We're leaving
I'd be
that in.
shocked if there is already a podcast called The Podcats. I mean,
Okay.
True.
Yeah.
has to exist, right?
It has to. Okay. Sorry, I gotta look this up. Let's see.
Good boy, Revan. You silly cat.
Yes, here we go. Podcats. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, it's there. All right. Oh, there's another one too. There's a few, it looks like. So.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, thanks for your contribution, Revan. We appreciate it. Good cat.
Yeah, Revan, thank you for coming on the podcast today. It's been a pleasure.
He had a very unique and valuable perspective, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, yes.
Very.
I also
astute.
agree.
It's like I agree with the cat so hard right now. Anyway, but yeah, yeah. So really great pieces. So I know I've said it a million times already, but thank you again for contributing, both of you, because I just love seeing like the other contributions and stuff. I just thought it was awesome. So thank you for writing for the magazine. It's always appreciated.
Welcome.
It's fun.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh yeah, I mean, it is so much fun, and I love having like different perspectives. So you're always welcome back. And
Yeah, I'll be lurking about.
you'll be lurking, like hey,
You invited me to your server. There's no choice.
yeah, that's true. It's like, oh, we need to get rid of her now. She's gonna be lurking.
I'm the cat peering around the corner.
Yeah,
Hey,
I feel
feed
like
me, but also I want to be here.
Yeah, I guess the only other thing I wanted to touch on with talking about the magazine is that this is the first time that I kind of relied less on fan artwork and more on photography, which actually I was really pleased with. I really enjoyed using like the photographs and stuff, because unfortunately, this is sad, but I have to like stay away from fan art now just because for copyright reasons. It's just people brought it up to me and I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, probably shouldn't do it in the future. So this is the last issue with fan art, which makes me really sad, but you know, it is what it is. But so that's why I integrated some photographs in here this time around as well. So I liked the mix this time around. I thought it was a lot of fun to work on. So yeah, there's just something new this time around. And I guess we can just conclude with our overall thoughts. Maybe we've kind of already said them, but in general, just, you know, on the game and our time working on the issue. Anybody have any final things to say?
I'm just going to reiterate that if anyone here likes Life is Strange and, you know, is looking for another interesting game to play, Pickett. You shake very loudly. All of my animals are taking turns now, just interrupting things. Good dog, Pickett. There's nothing to distract them since Jimmy's gone right now, so... Anyway, yeah, remember me. It's one of those interesting games. You know, it's not perfect, it's got some problems, but it's clearly a labor of love on the part of the people making it, and it's got some interesting ideas, and, you know, I can't promise you're going to have a new favorite game, because, you know, it's not one of mine, but it's really interesting and cool, and I think that it's worth it, especially if you really enjoy Life is Strange and are interested in more of Don't Nod's work.
Yeah, for sure. How about you, Red?
If you like Life is Strange, read the comics. There's I think the third volume is coming out of the trade paperbacks of the Life is Strange comics that view it from the perspective of a Max that ran away with Chloe, and Max realizing in this other dimension that she is there with Chloe or she's not there, but Chloe's dead, and she's still in Arcadia Bay after the hurricane or tornado hits. Hurricane.
Oh.
Yeah. It shows those two parallel perspectives, and I'm not going to spoil it, but then when timey-wimey stuff happens, certain characters appear again, and you go, oh, okay. I guess this is happening now.
Okay,
yeah,
interesting.
It gets crazy. It's really cool, though.
Sounds like some Steins Gate kind of stuff, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, I
don't know if
I'm
any of you seen that, but... Yeah,
I've
no, I'm gonna have to.
played it and I've seen it.
Ah, okay.
Hmm.
I pre-ordered the special edition of the game and haven't played it. I love the anime, but I haven't played the game yet.
There's so many words.
Yeah,
So many words.
lots of them.
And I'm a reader too, and I'm just going, okay, this is a little.
Yeah. It's like, this is a little
Yep.
much. Come on now.
You can cut some of this. It's called editing. You have to edit some of this.
Yeah, man, some visual novels, especially those long epic ones, just, I love them, but also there are some times where it just feels like, you didn't have to include all of these scenes.
Is the purple prose necessary? No.
No. You can
I am
cut
definitely
this.
looking for those comics, though.
Yeah, look for them. They're real good. They are all at your local bookstores or libraries.
Your library.
I am actually
Or
looking
your
in my library right now, and it seems that it's not for me, so that's sad.
Darn
Yeah,
it.
you have to request them, honestly, because a lot of librarians kind of look at you funny when you go, "What's a Life is Strange?" It's like, okay, so
So let's start from the beginning. And I'm just going to say real quick, just for final thoughts, because I forgot to mention it earlier, we're going to have him on another episode of the podcast, but David McNeil also wrote a few articles for the magazine, and they are also very good. So definitely take the time to read those. Funny story. For some reason, I don't know where my head was at, but he gave me 3 pieces, and originally he was having issues with one of them. So I was like, for some reason, I just assumed that because he was having a longer time writing it, that he wasn't writing it at all for some reason in my head. So at the last second, I'm going through his Google Doc, and I'm looking and I'm like, this piece looks like it was finished. And this is like the day before I'm releasing it. I'm like, hey, David, are you still doing that 3rd piece? And he's like, yes, I am. I'm like, oh, shoot, man. Okay. So that was a fun time. I don't know where my head was at, but it worked out. It all worked out. But yeah, that was just a fun little experience. I was like, oh, man, okay, how am I going to fit this in? Okay, I got this. And it worked out. But yeah, so definitely check out his pieces because they're also very great. And yeah, I would say if you like, I'm not going to call it a walking simulator, but if you like games that maybe are slower, where you're not as much combat, and I'll just say I wouldn't call it literary, but it's like leaning toward things that tropes that are in literature more often than not, then I think you'll like this game. It's not perfect, as we've talked about, but it's definitely worth the time to play, for sure. So definitely check it out.
We really do need better video game critical terminology to talk about things like this, don't we? It's hard. It's just so hard to have the right word to talk about a game that is designed with its controls and game design and such to be more focused toward being a story engine than a competitive challenge.
Yeah.
It's really hard to talk about it just because we don't really have all the words yet. That's dumb.
Well, yeah, and also kind of how we view games. Games are viewed very much by popular media, I'd say, as sort of very fast-paced and shooting most of the time, or violence. So
yeah, not always. There's usually considered to be some kind of life or death struggle, even if it's just falling down a pit in Mario or something. So
right.
Something like this is different from that, but also not without interaction or fundamental. It's still the same medium. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so with that, we have reached the end of our episode. I know we talked, well, I guess we cut it, but cats, librarians, Life is Strange. It was a great episode. So, with all that, Red, where can people find you?
Well, you can find me over on my channel, Red Angel, but there will hopefully be a link in this podcast.
Yes,
because
there will be.
Yeah, good. Because I did not get in on time with the whole YouTube link, and you can have your name afterwards. I did not get in on time for that.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Oh.
So,
okay. What do I have here?
Because I think you have...
Oh, Red Angel Ponderings.
Yeah, Red Angel
Yeah.
Ponderings. You can do / my channel name, Red Angel Ponderings, and you might find it.
Okay.
If you just look up my show, Late Night Ponderings, you'll find it.
Hmm.
You'll probably find my earlier episodes, but those ones are circulating more anyway, so I'm okay with that. But
Okay. Cool. And yeah, all the links for where you can find Red will also be in the show notes, so fear not, listeners.
I also just Googled Red Angel YouTube, and you were the first suggestion.
yes,
So,
Good.
finally.
Win.
You know, I don't know if that might be affected by Google knowing that I tend to search for video games and YouTube channels about them, but you know,
I
it works for
mean, I wouldn't put it past them. Like,
Yeah,
you came up
but
for
I
me
feel like
too.
generally the audience of this podcast is probably also in at least a somewhat similar boat, so it should work
Right.
fine.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And Sam, where can people find you?
Mainly on YouTube, youtube.com/gamesislit, or the show is called Games is Lit 101. If you search that, you'll find it. And please don't watch my old videos.
Oh.
Y'all can watch my videos that are old because even if the audio balancing is bad, you'll know I've improved.
That's true. Maybe I should say please watch my new videos first.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, just say that. That's just easier.
Good first impression.
It just shows how much you've grown as a content creator. Good job.
That's true. But yeah, there, and then on Twitter is the Game Professor, or my handle is @GamesIsLit, I guess. But
Oh yeah, Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter's a thing, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm at Red Angel X3 on Twitter, so go for it.
Yes.
and
Cool.
Patreon. I think we're all on Patreon. Give us money.
Yeah, give me Patreons.
I
We
don't
got
remember
money.
my Patreon link. Just links in the description of my videos.
Yeah, same.
Cool. Yeah, your Patreon is just Red Angel, so that'll be really easy to find. You
Yeah.
can't mess that up,
Yay.
folks. So cool. And I'll say all the links for Level Story are in the show notes. Most of my handles are either Level Story or Level Story Mag, so just look up one of the two. You'll find me. I'll be there. And if you want to follow my personal Twitter, which I can't say is that exciting, but if you really want to, it's at this_is Danielle, because that name was taken as well from me. So the underscore really makes it. I like it. And of course,
I'm
like I
pretty
said,
sure I follow. I just realized I'm not 100%. I'm gonna have to look for that and see.
I think you do, but it's hard to tell because I use TweetDeck, so like I'm constantly responding to people from the wrong accounts. I retweet things like
Same.
yeah, like the other day I did like this thing on Patreon where I was like, oh, I'll tweet it out and it'll be available to everyone to read, and I'm like, 2 days later I'm like, I tweeted it from my personal, didn't I? All right, that works.
Yep.
It's fine.
Yep.
So yeah, good times. But anyway, like I said, links are in the show notes for everything we have talked about today. So go ahead there. Once again, that is levelstory.net/podcast/LIS-reflection. And with that, that ends our episode. So Red, thank you for joining us today. It was awesome.
Your problem. I am more than happy to join and contribute when I have played the games.
Yes. And the upcoming issue of Level Story this year, in 2020, how exciting. We're going to be talking about Celeste. I'll put a drum roll in there. I don't have those effects on hand. Oh, good job. Thank you.
All right.
That's so much better. No drum roll
Good
now.
drum roll.
Yeah, that's
Just
better.
edit that into like before you announce it.
Yes. Perfect.
I'm around kids, can you tell?
Look, it makes it so much more entertaining listening to the podcast with that, so that was awesome. All right, cool. Yeah, so we'll be talking about Celeste in the next issue. You can look for that. It'll be coming out a little later. It'll be at the end of April. No date is set yet. Debt and set. Oh my god, date and set. Debt. There you go.
I'm extremely excited for this one, honestly. Celeste was one of my favorite games of that year, so
Yeah, it's such a good game. I'm really excited to talk about it. I'm currently getting my ideas together, and it's just, I love it. It's so good. I can't wait to talk about it on the podcast, actually, as well. That'll be fun. But yeah, I recently just finished replaying through that, so very challenging. Pushed me. Like, I was very annoyed. I was like, I just want to finish. But then I got to the top, and I was like, oh, yes. I love this game.
The struggle is part of it, for sure.
Exactly.
It's some good stuff.
So yeah, we'll definitely have fun talking about that. But anyway, that ends this episode of the Level Story Podcast. Thanks for listening, and we will talk to you all next time.
Indeed.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.